So I'm Nkiru Balonwu, and I'm the CEO of Spinlet. Spinlet, we are a media distribution company online, of course, and we focus on Africa-centric music, and that's what we do.
And what news since we last talked?
Since we last spoke, Russell, we've done a lot. So we have a new web browser. So the old one's gone. Now, in the past month, we've sort of launched that, and that's been really great. And numbers have significantly improved since the browser came up.
And you put the browser in to get at feature phone users. Why?
Because even though everyone talks about smartphones in Africa, there's about 1 billion people on the continent right now, and maybe about 90 million smartphones, and a lot of people have 2 or 3 smartphones, as you know. So the numbers are not that high for smartphones. The numbers are extremely high for feature phones. Almost everybody has a phone, and people have advanced feature phones. So the thing with doing the feature phone browser thing is because when you have the feature phone, you can access your browser and be able to enjoy music as if you were using a smartphone.
And how many countries are you now in?
We've always been everywhere, where you can access us from anywhere in the world.
But you have specific local sites in how many countries?
We have in Kenya and Ghana, and we're thinking of francophone Africa right now. So we would have very soon in DRC and Mali, because we think francophone content is key to us moving to the next level.
And you're also targeting the diaspora Africans, aren't you?
In fact, our strategy has been exactly that. So our strategy is focusing on Africans living in Africa and Africans who are living in the diaspora, who are looking for connections to home. And that's where we think our money is as well, in terms of monetizing music content.
And how is the payment piece going? Because last time we talked, that was the most difficult part of your task.
Payment has actually gotten better, and I think it's gotten better because there's more competition out there. So in Nigeria, for example, we have MIGS, InterSwitch is doing a lot better. There's Paga as well. Around the rest of the continent, there's other payment options. So payments actually improved, and so the good news is that we know that it's going to even get better in 2016 and 2017. So it's really, I think that's what the good thing about it is, that it shows that progress is being made and we're growing along.
And in terms of the mobile operators, because they were the problem that you identified last time.
The mobile. Well, maybe that's even gotten. I think since we last spoke, the mobile operators have been more of a challenge. The mobile operators are really now our competition, so that's actually, frankly, they're creating chaos.
Yeah.
I'm just going to be frank about it.
Yeah.
They're creating complications. They're paying really extremely high advance payments to artists, which means that they're creating chaos for everybody else in the industry, because when you then say, I'm not going to pay you this, how do you get your money back? They're like, well, these people paid me this amount of money, so why can't you? And that's chaotic. And it just is not helping the industry, what the telcos are doing. And I think at some point that has to be checked.
And you were talking earlier about the impact of the fine on MTN.
Well, the fine on MTN is interesting, and I think I said at a panel in Ghana that I thought it was not necessarily a good thing, but also not necessarily a bad thing. I think if it can bring some structure to the industry, I think that's great. Anything that brings structure to the industry is, phenomenally helpful. So I'm hoping that what the fine will do, whether MTN pays a fine or not, or negotiates a lesser fine, is, that's a different conversation. But I'm hoping that the fine in itself, what it does is to open up the conversation and the space to regulation, to proper way of doing business. If you think about Google, for example, and their issue in the EU, I don't think the EU can actually put a finger on what exactly they think Google is doing wrong. It's just that when you control 90% of the space, then you better be doing everything right, because otherwise, whether intentionally or not intentionally, you might do things that are anti-competitive. And that's what I'm hoping the fine does in Nigeria and Africa
because
generally.
In Nigeria, we're talking about MTN as a company controlling towards 50%.
Exactly, and the telcos, it's like there are four telcos, and they control the whole space, and we depend on them to actually exist because we need data from them, we need a lot of things, and they give preferential treatments to their customers. And there's a whole I could go on and on about trade practices and anti-monopolies, and that being something that the government should actually look into, but that's a government across the continent.
Yeah.